Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. A lot of noise, a lot of buzz around what Billy Napier is going to do at the coordinator positions heading into 2025. Now, look, at least in my opinion, the defense coordinator spot completely fine with Ron Roberts just taking over this defense. Quite frankly, I think Ron Roberts had a big time hand in this Florida Gators defense in 2024. They clearly got better. I kind of want to just keep the good thing going with this Florida Gators defense. And look, there are a lot of really good names that want to come and take over this Florida defense. I think Ron Roberts won. You get that continuity. A lot of young talent that is kind of starting to learn this defense. They get to stay in the same kind of defense, hear the same voices. And I think, secondly, I don't know how concerned I am about the defensive coordinator spot. Now, you look at defense historically, it's about Jimmy's and Joe's. If you have the dudes on defense, chances are you're going to be a pretty damn good defense, regardless of who's calling the defense. Florida's going to have the Jimmy's and Joe's. The bigger question to me, and I think the bigger question for a lot of Florida Gator fans, what's going to happen at the offensive coordinator spot? Now, I want to be very, very clear right off the bat. In no way, shape, or form am I an insider. I'm in the same spot as many of y'all, just refreshing the message boards, refreshing Twitter, trying to get any sort of buzz or name that I can. And quite frankly, it's been really, really quiet. Why might that be the case? Number one, and I think a lot of Florida Gator fans are probably feeling this way. It's going to be Billy Napier continuing to call this offense going into 2025. Now, the other explanation could be that the offensive coordinator that Billy Napier wants to go after might be wrapping up an NFL season, might be wrapping up in the college football playoffs. That very well could be the case as well. We'll see how it plays out, but I want to get into the conversation of why Billy Napier needs to grab an OC. And I think it starts with somebody on Twitter put this out, and I couldn't agree more with this statement. It's a hot take. Billy Napier's game management is worse than the play calling. I would probably agree with that. As Billy Napier as a play caller, he's certainly not great. I think we all know that, but he's not horrible at it. But I think the big idea a lot of Florida Gator fans are frustrated with is, look, we got a head coach that is lacking in game management because he's got his head stuck in the iPad and stuck in the play sheet half the football game, that Florida's game management and some of the other operations around the football team seem to be lacking. Just because Billy Napier wants to call plays that he's probably just so at doing. The only head coaches, and this is just a personal take of mine, that should be calling the plays are the ones who are the best of the best. Think Lincoln Riley. Think Coach Sark at Texas. Hey, even Ryan Day, who was considered one of the best play callers at the head coaching position. Even this year, he relinquishes the play calling duties, goes out and hires Chip Kelly. What happened with Ohio State? It certainly looks like they're going to be jumping over the hump, getting over the hump, and winning a national championship. And Ryan Day blows Billy Napier out of the water in terms of calling plays. One of the most frustrating aspects about watching this Florida offense in the 2024 and 2023 years, yes, the play calling at time is certainly frustrating. You're going to get that with any offensive coordinator you hire. The game management and some of the chaos that you see happening within this program on Saturdays, that's the most frustrating. And I think it largely has to do with your head coach, who should be in charge of a lot of that operational stuff. He's also wearing the hat of OC, and that takes up a lot of his thought process and a lot of his time and energy, not only during Saturdays there in the football game, but also during the other 6 days when you're preparing for a football game. I think the sport of college football, it looks so different than it did 10 years ago. There are so many responsibilities that you have to juggle when you're the head coach, especially at a program like Florida, that there ain't many people that'll be able to be a very good play caller and juggle all those head coaching responsibilities. And again, I think the best example of this is, Ryan Day, who is a very, very good play caller, relinquished the play calling duties because he said, I want to focus more on running this program as a head coach and not being an offensive coordinator too. Want to get into a couple other takes. Now, before we do, and as always, to the Florida Gator fans, let it fly in the comment section. Look, I've been on the message boards. I've been on Twitter. This is a hotly contested topic. Would love to hear how you guys are feeling. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys. Without further ado, let's get into this one. And I want to start with, all right, why should Florida go out and hire an offensive coordinator? Look at the depth chart that we are looking at heading into 2025. You have what I think is a quarterback that has about as high of a ceiling as you could imagine. You have an offensive line that returns 4 out of 5 of its starters from 2024, an offensive line that played pretty damn good football in 2024. You got a ton of talent in the wide receiver room. You got a young stable of running backs. This is an offense that would have prospective offensive coordinators drooling all over. You know, you look at, and many of y'all know I'm a Michigan fan, and Michigan had to hire an OC 12 months ago. You look at our offense, it stunk, just the personnel stunk. That was an offensive coordinator position that I don't think enticed a lot of offensive coordinators. You know, that looks like an offense that I take over and I'm about losing my job in 24 months. This is different. Like, this to me is an offense that should command a lot of attention from a lot of elite offensive coordinators. You know, if you're an offensive coordinator that believes in your capabilities of maximizing a football team, you are going to jump at the opportunity to go coach DJ Lagway with all the pieces that you have around him. That's kind of my take on it. You know, how does Florida get over the hump and take that step? This to me is the DJ Lagway window. You know, you hit on your quarterback. You got a true difference maker at quarterback. And we all know when you have a true difference maker at quarterback, you can win at the highest level of this sport. You got to do everything in your power to maximize this roster for the next couple of years. And to me, I look at it and say, it's got to be bringing in an offensive coordinator who can allow this Florida offense to take its next step. Look, there's a lot of offensive coordinators that would be massive, massive improvements from what Billy Napier is doing. And again, that's not a knock on Billy Napier, but Billy Napier did not get the head coaching job at Florida because of his play calling chops. You know, Coach Sark, that was something that comes with him. Lincoln Riley too. Like, part of the attractiveness of hiring someone like Coach Sark or Lincoln Riley is, hey, they're going to call and design and scheme a really good offense. That was not the biggest selling point for Billy Napier coming to Florida. He was known as a program builder, a culture builder, and he's, to be fair, he's been doing some of that. And you can see this program starting to go in the right direction. To me, I look at it and say the last piece of the puzzle seems to be getting an offensive coordinator that can maximize this offense. At the end of the day, this is going to be a decision that Billy Napier makes that is either going to take this program to the next level or end his tenure at Florida. And I'm not saying he's going to get fired if he maintains play calling duties, but he's betting on himself. And look, if Florida does not achieve expectations in 2025 and Billy Napier does not bring in an offensive coordinator, the voices are going to get real loud. And quite frankly, they should. We'll see how it works out. I think my final talking point is this should be a program that, in general, it's the Florida Gators. We all know the weight that this program carries. But with this kind of offense that they have, this should be an offense that attracts a lot of really qualified, really damn good candidates to this Florida Gators offense. Now is the question, is Billy Napier willing and ready to relinquish that control? And I think it's going to be arguably the biggest storyline for Florida during this offseason. We'll cut it there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Going to be something we monitor closely. You know, I haven't seen any names really pop up. When we start seeing some names, if we do, we'll for sure talk about them. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to y'all later.